McCarthy from Aussie Stampers. Thanks very much for joining me today. I have a beginner's introduction to Copic Markers, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what kind of markers you would choose when you're starting your collection. The best way to ensure that you choose good blending colours is to match the colour letters, so you're keeping the colour family the same. Match the middle number, and this will keep the tone the same. And the last number indicates how light or dark the shade is. So for highlights, you want to pick a last number with a value of 0 to 3. For midtones, choose something around 4 to 6. For shadows, choose colours with a last number of 7 to 9. So for best results, try to keep 2 or 3 digit difference between your colours, and always try them out before you do them on your project just to make sure they do blend well. So let's talk about what those colours and letters actually mean. So I'm going to grab 3 of my Copic sketch markers here, and this is a really good blending combination for violets. Now, how do I know it's violet? Well, they look purple, don't they? But also on the lid here, V000, V12 and V15. Now these all create a lovely blended balance, and I'll actually do a little bit of a demonstration for you on some paper that I have here. Now I have the Express It blending journal, which uses the Express It paper, and this is the one I absolutely recommend for Copic markers. For me, I love it. I think it's the best paper. It's easy to get through the people who sell Copics. They will always have this in stock anyway. And you can see I do a little bit of practice. This is my practice book where I practice my blending, and you can see I wasn't trying to blend there. I just got a huge ink dot on my page. Now you notice that it bleeds through. So that is exactly what you want. Make sure, however, if it's going to bleed through, that you might put a piece of printer paper or something under this page so that you don't spoil that page as well. But I'm going to show you some of these colours blending here now, and just show you how the VOOO blends. So we'll grab some VOOO. You can see the markers have a brush tip, and you can find the brush tip because it has the line across the top. It also has a chisel tip, so this gives you a much thicker line. One of the things I like to do before I blend is to put some colourless blender down to start, which is the 0 blender. And I'm going to start with the lightest colour first. I'm going to put lightest colour all over where I've laid down that blending pen. That's a step that you don't actually need to do. It's just something that I like to do to get a really good blend when I'm doing a demonstration like this. Now I'm going to come in with my darkest colour next, which will be the V15. You can see that's starting to have a nice blend already. Then I'm going to bring in my medium colour, which is the V12, and I'm going to blend that. I'm actually going to push it this way. I'm going to turn this upside down actually. I'm going to push that back into itself so that it gets a really nice blend. So there's your colours, and I'm going to bring over that lighter colour just where I've laid it down between first and second colours. And you can see that, oh sorry, that's off camera. I'll do that again. There we go. You can see what a nice blend that makes. Now, it will dry lighter. Always remember, you might put something down and think, oh, that's really dark. But give it a few moments to dry, and you'll see how that's virtually a perfect blend. So that's a really nice colour combination for your violets. Now, I'll talk about how I chose those colours. So if you want to pick good colours for blending, you want to match the letters, which is the V's. So in this case, now the letters come in lots of different families. You have V for violet, RV for red violet, R for red, YR for yellow red, Y for yellow, YG for yellow green, G for green, BG for blue green, B for blue, and BV for blue violet. Now these are just the V's, so they're a straight violet, excuse my phone there, and you're going to know that these will match pretty much because you've chosen the same colour family, yes. How well they will blend depends on a few other criteria as well. You want to match the middle number, so this will keep the tone the same. So I've started off with a very light tone here, which is the V000, which is like a base colour. You've got a base colour to start your blending. Now the two colours here have the same middle number, V12 and V15, so that 1 is the same. So that's the tone that you're getting, is that middle number. Now the last number indicates how light or dark the colour is. So we have V12, well first of all we have the V000, which is a 0. We have V12, we have V15, so we have 0 to 5, which are the last numbers. So for highlights, you're going to pick a last number with a value of 0 to 3. So that's my V000. For mid-tones, you're going to choose a number 4 to 6. And for shadows, choose colours with a last number of 7 to 9. So the V12 doesn't fit that criteria exactly because it is the number 2. However, with this cut, they don't always follow the rules. So what you've got to do is test them on your good quality cards first and make sure that you like how they blend. But the V15 certainly fits that number 4 to 6 because it's sitting there right on 5. V15 is between 4 and 6. Now, if I wanted really deep shadows, I would go with the last number of 7 to 9. And for the best results, you want to keep 2 or 3 digit difference between the colours. So you can choose colours that are right next door to each other, but I would not recommend it because the difference is going to be so slight. As a card maker, you don't have really fine details. If you were a graphic designer or somebody who is a professional artist, you may well want the whole set of colours, and there are 358 colours in the complete set. However, as a card maker, you're not going to need anywhere near as many as that. You're going to choose colours, probably 3 or 4 that are close together in terms of the same colour family and the same middle number. And, you know, I might add, maybe, to get a slightly darker version to this, I may well add a V1, let's have a look on the colour wheel here. I may add a V17 to that grouping, and that'll give me that fourth darker colour if I wanted it. And I could have that darker colour and maybe take away the very light colour if I didn't want the light highlights. However, I love working with these. They're almost like covering your paper with, you know how the art teacher used to say, even if you're going to paint on a white canvas, put some white paint on it first because it just gives you that basic starting point. So I love that colour combination for my violets, and that's the one that I've chosen. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the types of markers that are available through Copics. So these were the sketch markers. So they have a brush tip and a bullet point. They have the numbers written on the cap, which is great. They have a thick line here which shows you where the brush tip is. I don't often use the chisel tip. I mainly use the brush tip. So that's the sketch, and they are by far my favourites. There are chow markers as well, which are the smaller ones. They have less ink and they are a more economical price point. So if you're only going to have a few markers and you wanted to have a reasonable number in your collection, maybe you would start with the chows. They're not available in as many colours. They have 180 colours. So not as many colours to choose from, but in some ways that might be good if you're a beginner crafter. It doesn't make it quite so confusing for you if there are not quite as many colours. They have the same tips as the sketch. So they have this line here, which is the brush tip, and they have the chisel tip on the other side. And this is a 0, which is a colourless blender. You can't use this with the airbrush system. So if you wanted to use the airbrush system later on, you will need to use a sketch marker for that. The original Copic markers, I don't have one here, but they have like a square barrel. So this barrel, instead of being oval, would be square. And they come in 214 colours. But I think they have some that are refillable that you can custom do colours with as well. So you can add up to 2 more if you wanted to. The wide marker is one that I wanted to show you. I think this one's really an interesting one. The wide marker, it's great for backgrounds and patterns. You can use it on the side, so you can write with it like that. But you can also use it right across. I recommend you get one of these in a really light colour for backgrounds so that you can get your backgrounds done quickly. It's available in 36 colours, but you can, again, you can expand it to 358 by getting some empty ones and putting ink in them and choosing whatever ink you want. You can't use these with the airbrush system either. The multi-liners, which come in various colours. There are two types of multi-liners and they come in various thicknesses. So I'll just give you an example. I've got a 0.25 in black. It's quite fine. I really like working with fine markers when I'm doing my drawings, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. This is the 0.3. I really enjoy drawing and sketching with these. For me, when I do a sketch with these and then colour it in, say if I was to do a sketch, you can see I've got some really fine lines in there, and then if I colour in my sketch, I don't want the lines to be too predominant. I want the colours to really dictate the picture rather than thick black lines. So that's why, for my particular style, I use the thinner ones. You can see I have some thicker lines down here for more detail. So that's really a personal preference. But these multi-liners come in two sorts. They come in this particular one, which is refillable. This is the SP. So you can see there's letters SP. This means it's refillable. I'm just going to take the back off here and show you. So this comes out and you can put your ink through there and refill it. So if it starts to get a bit light, you just grab some ink and pop in there and refill. This one is disposable, so when it's empty and you can toss it away. This is much cheaper. If you're doing a lot of outlining, as I do, then I prefer the SP because I can refill it with my various inks. Now, coming to the various inks, this is what the inks refills look like. And you can see this gives you the number match. So if you were going to refill your BG15 marker, then that is the ink that you would use. It comes in all 358 colours. The inks are all the same, so they go from marker to marker. Whatever marker you have, if it is refillable, this is the type of ink that you use. And it's very easy to use. The lid unscrews, pop it off, and I'll do a refilling video after I've done this one. I'll do some more on just the technical side of the Copic markers. Okay, now one of the other pens that Copic have brought out, and this is a really fun one for me, is called At You Spica, S-P-I-C-A, and these are a glitter pen. They have really tiny, I don't know if you can see on the lid there, you can see there's a bit of sparkle to show you that it's a sparkly pen. And I'll just add some sparkle onto this. I'm just going to draw a little sparkly flower in the middle of that really big piece there and colour it in and bring it up and show you. It's hard to pick up on camera, but I can assure you that is very glittery. It has like a little mirror substance inside, little tiny mirror particles. And just while I'm on the subject of your pens and how to store them, this is one of the pens that you must store flat. So you don't want to store it end up or end down, because if you do, then it might get clogged. So with the Spica pen, you want to store it this way. With all your other pens, they can go either way, up, down, sideways, top, bottom, doesn't really matter. There's no particular way you need to store those. A lot of people store them flat because it's easy for them to see the numbers and pull one out, but you can store them up in a box like that. And in another video, I'll show you how I store my Copics as well. I have a good storage solution for you for there. Okay, so that's the start of Copics. Now you're going to use, if you're not going to use the Copic multi-liners and say you wanted to stamp an image, as I've done in this one here, I've used a stamp. I've stamped it on some Express It card with Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and I'm pleased to announce you'll be able to buy this in my online store very shortly. So Memento Black will be available in my online store, I think, from the 1st of July. So if you need this, you can buy it from me. And this is a really good ink to use. Stays on does not work. I've actually done some stamping the stays on and it will bleed. You need to use Tuxedo Memento, and you can use whatever colour you like for that. You can see here I've started to do some shading. This is a work in progress, obviously, shading the skin, doing some shadowing under here, shading that desk to look like a steel desk, and I'll be finishing off that card, finishing off that stamp and making a card of it in a later video for you. One of the things I really like to do is colour hair in very strange and weird colours. So you can see hair does not always have to be brunette, blonde, or redhead, you can make different coloured hair. This one I've reversed the colours. I've given her the pink hair and the green hat in this one, and the green hair and the pink background in this one. But you can see how I love to do drawings. So for me, these are artist trading card sizes, and these don't have backgrounds as such. Probably shows it slightly more. I've used a few more colours in this one. So that's your cool or warm greys. I've used cool greys. I've used C1, C3 and C5 around the body just to create that background so that it doesn't look as though she's standing against a stark white piece of cardstock. So it's really handy to have the greys as well. They come in warms greys or like a neutral grey. So that's handy as well. You can see how all of these bleed through, and that's fine. That's exactly what you want. It means that the paper is working for you. Unless you had a really thick cardstock, then it may not bleed through. But be careful that you use the right papers. Do not use watercolour paper. If you were to do this on watercolour paper, your pens would dry up really fast because it just takes way too much ink, and you don't need to do that. One of the other things that you can do, just quickly before we go, you can dye your rhinestones and pearls in the exact colour match. You can see here I've done some samples. I've also done some texturing by spraying with isopropyl rubbing alcohol and then laying some different fabrics on top. And you can see how that's created a beautiful technique there. And these are the ribbons that I dyed to match. Just by running your marker over the top, you can see that those ribbons match perfectly with the rhinestones and pearls. And you can also dye things that are metallic, fired ceramic, all sorts of other materials as well. So that's just a quick run through on Copic or Copic markers, and it'll get you started. And if you need any tips on how to buy your markers, always talk to the person in the store. If they are a registered stockist, then there should be somebody in the store who knows the product. And if they don't, then if the person you're talking to doesn't know, perhaps it's somebody who's just come in to help out for the day, make an appointment with the person who is qualified to talk to you about the colours so that you know you make the right choice. I hope you enjoyed that today, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.